Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next episode review of Undead Girl Murder Farce, episode 6. And I have to say, I really loved this episode. I really loved it. It was a lot of parts that were funny though, but just really, well, I don't want to say clever though, but just what's with the characters, I really did enjoy, especially between Sherlock Holmes and Lupin. But yeah. I mean, we go back in London, at 221 Baker Street, the residence of Sherlock Holmes, right? We see Dr. Watson come to his house, and we see him, he's sitting in the chair, right? Well, apparently, I guess his brother, Sherlock Holmes' brother, comes in and saying, "Oh, that's not him," because I saw my brother 3 days ago, and his nails are trimmed, and so I'm like, damn. And it turns out it's Lupin in disguise. So not only he's a master disguise like Sherlock Holmes is. After all, he is the gentleman thief though, but so of course he would be a master disguise. So then the real Sherlock Holmes walks in. It says Lupin, and I like the tone of the talkiness of between Sherlock Holmes and Lupin. I really like that, saying that how he can open any lock, and how I'll be seeing you again later at 11, so he can steal that diamond from Phileas Fogg. So he escapes by just jumping out the window, free falling backwards, right? Lands right into the carriage where the Phantom of the Opera is driving perfectly, and it's just like when he lands, he's like he's just relaxing in the back seat, right? And so I'm really enjoying the characters of Lupin and like the Phantom of the Opera, and then Sherlock Holmes is absolute excellence, and so with Holmes, Watson, and I guess his brother Mycroft. So now I haven't also I have not read much of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories though, because I grew up with the movies more though. But I'm very sure maybe he does have a brother. I'm just saying I'm not really in versed in the stories of Sherlock Holmes. But I know that I'm pretty sure that he does have a brother. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm not totally sure, but for what this, I'm fairly sure, because they have Inspector Lestrade and Phileas Fogg and all those other characters, right? So I'm very confident that Sherlock Holmes does have a brother. So who's named Mycroft, I think. Yeah. But anyway, then I really enjoyed that scene with with talking with Lupin and Sherlock Holmes. It was really enjoyable, just casually just talking to each other, no life, not planning on killing each other, whatever. They're just talking, discussing how, hey, I'll see you later at the mansion. Hope you're prepared for me, basically. To back with Cigaru and Shizuku and with Aya, they're sitting at a park bench where they have another bird cage with a parrot inside, right? And so there's another bird cage that has a parrot, and of course with Cigaru being the dimwit he is, he goes and gets food, but he ends up mixing up, grabbing the birdcage that has a parrot in it. And then Anya is his Aya. Sorry, Anya. I was referring to Anya from Spy Family. Aya. She's been left on her own because she gets picked up by a guy, sees there's a talking head inside, tosses it, and she gets out of the birdcage, and her head is now on the street. And then those two twins, those thieving twins that were arrested from the last episode. Apparently they're not. I don't know if they were freed or anything, but they're driving, and they run over Aya's head though, right? Splattered, right? But since she's immortal, she's an immortal severed head. She puts herself back together, which I was like, okay, which I knew that she wouldn't, because she's, like I said, she's immortal. So of course, even if she gets ran over or splattered by a car, her head just come back together. And those two twins, they go and take her. Since she's a head, she can't do anything about it. So, and then that reporter, that little girl reporter, forgot her name though, but she's in London looking for Sherlock Holmes, and she meets with Seguro, you know. And the funny thing is, when Seguro finds the cage with the reporter, and sees that the twins driving by, and I had to laugh at this when Aya was like screaming Segaro's name as she was driving by. It's like Segaro! as they zoom by, she's just screaming as they're passing by. It's like Segaro! I had to laugh at that. I had to laugh at that. So they chased after him, and back with was Shizuku, the maid. She runs off on her own to look for her master, right, her mistress, and she almost gets hit by Lupin and the Phantom of the Opera. They almost hit her though, so they offer and she goes and offers them, "Can you give me a ride? I'm looking for my mistress," basically, not knowing those are the two thieves they're looking for, especially for Lupin. So she doesn't know that though, and even Lupin's like, she's fine looking. And so she rides with them, and ultimately the twins, those two twins, they crash, and her head gets picked up, and now Eric, Eric, that's the Phantom's real name. Like, even Lupin tells, this is Eric, and he goes, "Don't use my real name." "Oh, okay. This is the Phantom." But Lupin introduces himself to them, and seeing Segaro say how good of a fighter he is. And it was a short fight though, but it was a very decent fight. And first it started with fist fighting, and then with Seguro and Lupin. Then Lupin goes and throws these marbles. Like, I don't know if he controls, like you see the marbles moving on its own, like in a wavy pattern. I don't know if he controls those though. But then when Seguro goes for another punch, Lupin throws a few marbles at his face, and then he gives him a good was a sucker punch or an uppercut, right? And Seguro just lands right on his knees like this. And then they get away. And then Seguro goes and kind of says, "I lost." And so they head back to Phileas Fogg's mansion, where Holmes, Watson, Inspector Lestrade, Fogg and his butler, and another inspector from France who's after Lupin is there with them. They're inside the vault, right? They lock themselves into the vault, and so Sherlock Holmes goes and shoots the lock so they can't get out, because thinking he's trying to play smart, that since Lupin said he can open any lock, right? So by shooting the locks, we can't get out. There's no way in or out now, but you can get a good locksmith to open it, but it'll take him hours though. But anyway, no one can get it. He can't get in or get out, right? So the thing is playing smart though. But even the greatest detective can be wrong, can get wrong from time to time, right? Because I know one of the movies, especially the Pearl of Death, he played one thing wrong, and that's how the pearl ended up getting stolen. And of course, Lestrade, Sherlock Holmes, the Pearl of Death. Of course, Lestrade's like, "Oh, elementary, my dear Watson, by its deductive reasoning, of course." And Watson's like, "Oh, shut up, Lestrade." But Lupin set off an explosion outside of the mansion, where in the moat basically, where now water is now raging, coming down now, trying to drown them now. Since now there's no way out now. Guess Holmes didn't anticipate this though, because now they can make Lupin easier to steal now, since they're all gonna drown. And that's where the episode ends. I'm like, oh my god, how is Sherlock Holmes gonna think his way out of this now? Because now that he shot the locks, now that there's no way out though. So I'm like, how is he gonna get out of this? Yeah, like I said, there once in a while, because even the movies, like I said, even there was times when Holmes allowed himself to be captured, especially one time, like with Professor Moriarty and all that, right? He allowed himself to find him. "Oh, that disguise was never to fool me, Mr. Holmes." Well, of course, it wasn't intended to. Yeah. So hey, but like I said, sometimes even the greatest detective can get tricked, legit get tricked once in a while, you know. But you know, as I say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But that's a great way how it's gonna end, how it ended though. It's like, how are they gonna get out of this now? Because like with it, and with like, you know, with the story arc, with the 4-part story arc with the vampire though, I wonder how this story is, because I think maybe we'll get it'll end maybe with this one, or maybe we'll get up to episode 7, and then the last 4, or episode 8, and the last 4 is gonna be another story arc, because we got still more characters to go through, like Professor Moriarty, the Frankenstein, and all the characters as well. But yeah, but I really love this episode. Undead Girl Murder Farce. It's been an absolute blast to watch. I think it's definitely one of my top favorite of this year. Like I said, just when they introduced Sherlock Holmes, and then the other villains like from the Universal universe, like Professor Moriarty, Frankenstein, the Phantom of the Opera, Watson, even the ones I didn't expect to see, like Inspector Lestrade, Phileas Fogg, and really, eventually, maybe we'll get Jack the Ripper, because I look on the cast of characters that could be in this, they see Jack the Ripper is in there, so, okay, cool, hey, Jack the Ripper, okay, how is it, we'll see what plays in that, though. So, yeah, but I really love this episode. Just the whole thing with the little chase with the Eye Severed Head just being stolen, and then the whole thing with, the whole great scene with Lupin talking to Sherlock Holmes in his place. And then the little short fight with Cigaro and Lupin, with the whole thing with the marbles, and it was really fun, and just how now they got tricked, and now since they can't get out of that vault now, and now water is rising fast, and they try to drown, you know. So yeah, but I'm looking for how that's gonna end up turning out. So yeah, once again, I give this a thumbs up. Absolutely, this show's been 10 out of 10 every single time now. This one I think has been the best one I've seen yet. But yeah, that's episode 6. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one of Last Boss Queen. We'll see you next time. Once again, I love this series, and fantastic episode. Later.